Hello again, YouTube. This is Truth Man giving you the truth. On this video, I want to talk about the new car, used car argument. Should you buy a new car or should you buy a used car? I think a lot of other factors come into play when you're trying to figure out should you buy a new car or should you buy a used car. But again, just like I just talked about with politics, do not base it on emotion. You gotta base it on what's best, like what's best for you as an individual, like your income. And here's the factor that people don't factor in, is very important. How are the mechanics in your area? In my area, a lot of the mechanics are crooks, some of them are racist, so on and so forth. So you might not get what you pay for, and then all they gonna do is, if you go in there making too much of a fuss, they just gonna try to call the police to clean up their dirty work. Like somebody I know, it was so bad one particular time that he was chasing the mechanic with a shovel. You know, he could have really got in trouble. This was some years back. But there's a shop here in Milwaukee on Silver Spring Drive called Ruby Owl Auto, right? I had a Park Avenue. It was old. It was a 2001, but boy, that engine was good. It ran good. It just needed a few little repairs. So what I did, I took it to them thinking, oh, okay, they'll fix this car. I'm still mad at them. And if I knew I could, I ain't gonna say too much on here, but what they did, they didn't know who they was messing with. And they lucky. They doggone lucky. But I ain't forgot about y'all. I ain't forgot about what y'all did. See, y'all don't be knowing who y'all messing with sometimes. So what they did was, when I took the car up there, wasn't nothing wrong with it, like in terms of the doors and stuff like that. I had a door handle that needed to be put back on track, but that was it. But when I got the car back from him, it was a dent in it, like the door was open and funny. I drove it around the corner, the tire went flat. The engine was tight, like I said, but when I got it back from them, it was smoking. It was just all type of stuff, and I paid them a little money to fix my car. They didn't fix my car. So, and this has been going on for years, man. In this Milwaukee area, you got a few mechanics this average, a few that's good, and all the rest are crooks. And you could say, well, I'll just go far out. They don't like, let's be honest about racism, man. Some people are that way. Like, I'm not saying they're not. What I say is, don't let it be a crutch. Don't focus on it. Rise above it. Like some of our predecessors were doing, like R.G. Gaston, people like that. So it just depends on the mechanics in your areas too. Another thing that it depends on is how you function financially. If you are good with budgets and stuff like that, I would say if you make enough where you can still save, you still can save, you still gonna have disposable income, then it's possible you could get a new car. Like, if your mechanics in your area are good, or you have a personal relationship with a certified mechanic, and you don't want no car note, then by all means go use. But in my area, you can't really trust mechanics like that. So, and then you got the snow and all that, and the cold. You don't want to be broke down on the side of the road. So you want to get your finances to the point where you can either pay cash for a new car, which I would advise. Like, y'all do realize that if you save an average of $270 a day, you will have $100,000 at the end of the year. Now, car is one of your biggest expenses. You say, well, it's going to depreciate 50% when it go off the lot. Me personally, I don't even care about that because it's still going to be worth something. Like, that comes into play depending on how much you're spending on the car. Like, if you're spending 60 or less, then why would you worry about that? Because yeah, it's gonna depreciate. If you spend $60,000 on a car, in 3 years it's gonna be worth $35,000. We all know that. But in 3 years, you gonna still be driving that car. And think about it, if you pay cash for a car, like a newer car, you're gonna buy yourself some time as well. Because you gonna be able to drive that car for at least, if you the type, let's say you put 15,000 miles on the car. You would drive that car for 10 years before you even crack 150,000. And most cars are still going to run at 150,000. But think about it. You ain't had a car in 10 years. You don't have the money to fix that or get you another car. Whereas if you buy a used car and it breaks down and you get fired from your job because your car is making you late, now you have an issue. So it just depends. Like, let's talk numbers. Y'all know I like talking numbers. Let's say you make after taxes, never go before taxes. When you making these decisions, never go by what you make before taxes. Always go by what you make, what you take home after taxes when you make your decision. So let's say you make $4,000 a month after taxes. Not a lot. Not a lot. Listen, and then another thing, your size, your stature comes into play too. Like your height, weight. Some guys, you have some short guys that like big trucks, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know, masculine short guys don't want a big truck. Me personally, I got a van, but I don't have a big truck right now. I like them, and I'm 6'2.5", 280 without 280 if I fast for a week. But that stature comes into play too. So let's say you make 4,000. You got a whole family at home, man. A whole family at home. Like, you got at least 2 kids. You want a big car, you want a small car. Like, if you live in a city like me, sometimes you might not be able to avoid the 2 notes. But if you had 2 notes, just make sure you can handle them. So if you making 4,000 after taxes, you could get a truck and a small car and pay $7,000 total for both. And you still have $3,300 for your other bills. Now you want to be able to save at least $500 a month. So take $500 off the table. Now you at $2,800. That's still enough for your utilities. Your I forgot they still got this closed. That's still enough for your utilities. Your disposable income, you want to have at least $500 for entertainment. So okay, now you're down to $2,300 for your phone bills, clothes. That, for most people, that should be enough. Like, if you're not too extravagant and your house is modest, you know, you ain't gonna be able to get that big old house. If you down to $2,300, your mortgage shouldn't be half of that. So let's say your mortgage is $1,400. Your mortgage is $1,400. Okay, now you still have money for food. You do. But what I would say is, you got all them people in your house and you want new cars. because your mechanic's crooks, you might have to like drive a Ford Escape or something that's not gonna cost you $500 a month. There's something that's gonna be about $350, $400 a month if you want to pay a note, and then get you another little car like what's that car, that Nissan that's cheap. I forgot the name of it. Your wife little, she don't always have to have no big car. You know, tell her right now, I need you to drive a little car. And get you a car with a third row for your other car. You can get away with it. Especially if y'all both working. Let's say y'all both working, you making 4, she making 2. Man, you can get away with it. Stay in that same area though. 700 total. But what I would advise for some people, if you don't have a problem with Lyft and Uber, trust me, Lyft and Uber ain't gonna be as much as that car. So what you could do is just do Uber and Lyft for like a couple years and save up the money to go buy you a new car, then you won't have no note. But if you get a note, just make sure that it's not no more than, at the most, worst case scenario, 25-30% of your income. Just take it from me, if it goes over that, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have problems. You know, because if anything change, you still got that note. So you gotta be able to, I would say, at the minimum, you got people in your household, you still should be saving $500 a month. Minimum, worst case scenario. And you could either break that up, $250 emergency fund, $250 regular savings. That's not a lot, but it's better than not saving at all. So let's say you were able to do that. Every year you putting up $3,000 for emergencies and $3,000 for your regular savings. Now you want to be able to do more than that, but at least you could do that. Don't let you trying to look successful. Be successful. Be successful. Wait till your money get up before you start going to get them car notes. I wish somebody somebody was telling me that, but I was too young and goofy. I wasn't listening to him. He was trying to tell me the whole time. If I would have listened to this particular guy, it was 2 of them. Like, I went, and this was crazy. This is how I know the Most High was trying to use them to get through to me. The first dude was saying the same thing. He said, I don't want him to do this. He was real emotional, touchy-feely, pat you on the shoulder, all that. He said, I don't want all that over my head. He was driving 2 vans that were used. He said, man, I just needed to get me to point B, from point A to point B. Then the other guy, I left that job and I was around another guy like that. He was saying the same thing. Like, I was getting mad at him because he was telling me, yeah, you might have that new car, but you probably can't even buy a sandwich. Your car should never interfere with your daily expenses. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses, man. But like I say, in closing, when you choose a new car, used car, factors come into play. The mechanics in your town, how much you take home, what your needs are transportation-wise, what your stature is. If you're a smaller person, you don't necessarily have to have a big old truck. Stop keeping up with the Joneses. If you 5'1", you 5'1", you don't have to have a F-150. You can get away with a Toyota Corolla, a Nissan Sentra, or a Ford Fusion, something like that. Your stature comes into play. Again, when you start making car purchases, you don't want it to interfere with your ability to save money. You invest a little, Because another bill you have to have when you have a family. You got to have life insurance. These cars are interfering with that. But those things, yeah, I would say, you know, your climate, like if the climate is either extreme, either hot or cold, you want to have a car that can withstand the pressure of weather extremes. You don't want you can't go down to Arizona in a 2000 year 2000 car that hasn't been maintained. Thanks for watching. The channel is the No Matrix. No keeping up with the Joneses. That's Matrix. You make your decisions. Make decisions based on you keeping a nice bankroll in your wallet. I know I've made those mistakes. Don't do it, man. Especially you youngsters. You gotta get out of college, stuff like that. Base all your purchases on the ability to save. Thanks for watching.